Welcome, welcome. Oh, nice. My name is Mana, for those of you who are new. And I'm really glad you guys are here. Before we dive in, let's just take a minute. If you could, take a minute and take a nice deep breath. Let's bring ourselves back in our bodies. Deep breath all the way down and breathe out. Beautiful. It takes a lot of time to carve uh, your Saturdays for this kind of work, right? To show up and to be present with others in this space. So I want to honor that. I want to honor that. And if you would like to go ahead and just type in the chat what brings you here today and what has called you into this room, into this work, into mediumship. So, what brings you into mediumship? Just put that in the chat. And as you are doing that, let me tell you what brought me into mediumship. I have been a medium since I was very young. My first vivid, conscious experience of speaking with a spirit happened at the age of 6. And at that moment, I feel like I began a twisty path that eventually led me into death education. So I've been a death educator. Some of you may understand that as a death doula for about 17 years. Though my training actually began much earlier when my mom was dying after a long battle with cancer I think about some 20 years ago. Okay, it's been a long time. And I feel like I became an unofficial, untrained doula for my mom. And that experience shaped everything that came after. My academic training is in therapy, but my intuitive foundation is in mediumship and psychic studies and channeling and death work and just like the amazing stuff that we do here. So teaching it um, has become one of the greatest loves of my life. Yes, Lula. I know Lula, Amelia. I know Lula. Lula is incredible. She's an awesome medium. Yeah. She went through level 1, level 2 training and she's doing Reiki now with us. But so what I want to do in the next 45 minutes is I want to give you a glimpse into mediumship 1. Okay, so we have mediumship level 1 and level 2, and level 1 is coming up in February. It starts in February 1st. And my guess is that most of you are here because something in you is awakening. Maybe you have had an experience that you cannot explain. Perhaps you're just filled with curiosity like I was. Maybe you're seeking deeper healing or you want to reconnect with a loved one that has passed away. Whatever has brought you here, it is valid. And what we are going to do today is gently peel back some of those layers of fear and doubt that the human mind um, creates on top of our intuition. I was just telling my crystal class today, I said, we all have a compass deep into our bodies, like deep, deep, deep inside. And then we start piling up all these boxes, piling up layers of fear and doubt and conditioning and belief systems and all kinds of things, the fear of the unknown, the fear of getting it wrong, the fear of intangible, the fear of not understanding. And often underneath those fears is the biggest fear of all, which is dying. Either it's our own death or the death of someone we love. And yet, that is not something we can change, right? We all have to face that. So, one of the unexpected gifts of developing mediumship for me um, was that the fear of death begins to loosen. Okay, I lost that fear a long time ago, not because I'm fearless, but because I have seen too much evidence of what comes after. Okay, so I really believe that mediumship is not a gift for a few. It's really an ability. It's an innate ability in all of us. We can all do it. And everyone is born with psychic and mediumistic awareness, every single one of us. This isn't about making you special. It's about just reminding you that you are already special. Okay. Mediumship teaches you that you're more than your five senses. Okay. You're more than this physical body, more than your identity, the identity that is locked in, and we walk with it every day, the ego and the sense of self-identity that we have. But here's the key. Here's the key. Um, Development begins with self. Okay. If your mind is chaotic, and hear this very carefully, whether you study mediumship with me or not, if your mind is chaotic, if your emotions are swirling, if you carry unprocessed turbulence in your life, whether it's a relationship that's not working out, perhaps you have very poor boundaries, maybe you have a job that you do not enjoy, then your channel is going to be disrupted. Okay, you cannot be a clear vessel for others if you don't learn how to be a clear vessel for yourself. That's just a fact, right? I've done this. I've done this for so long that I can tell you that people who go through mediumship training within the first 2 or 3 weeks, um, you are able to communicate with whoever you're trying to speak with. That part comes really easy. The real challenge for most of us psychic mediums, is sustaining the link. Okay, the one tiny spike in your emotion, one tiny spike in things that are going on around you, and poof, the connection gone, right? The connection fades away. So that's why in the level one training, we are going to build the internal foundation first. Okay, we're going to work on ourselves. You're not imagining this, the evidence is quite real. So a lot of this is really studying the scientific and the anecdotal evidence that consciousness continues after our physical death. Literally, it simply continues in the form of non-mass. So our physical eyes are not trained to see it. Okay, and that evidence keeps growing. The number of people who recognize this is growing too. So let me just take a look at the chat because I know it's lit. I love everyone putting lots of messages in there. Now, if I'm unable to get to your questions in the chat in the next few minutes, I will email you. Okay, I'll email you my answers to your questions. But so if you're here because you have felt, or you have sensed, or you've seen things, or you've known things that others dismiss, you're not alone. Okay, we all go through that. That this is not weird, it's not out there, it's not fringe. Okay, this is really studied. It's science, it is documented. A lot of this is quantum physics, and it is happening to people everywhere. So let's begin with the most basic question that people always ask. The most basic question that people always ask is, what is mediumship? Okay, so if you're new to this, the word medium or median simply means that you are in the middle. You as a medium will be in the middle of two dimensions, the energy world that is manifested in the form of physical bodies, living beings, okay, cars, houses, the chair that you're sitting on, the computer that you're using, your phone, your pets, and then the energy world that is manifested in the form of non-mass, post-material bodies. So you can do that simply by raising your vibration frequency, raising your frequency high enough so you can speak with these other non-mass energies. Now, there is a difference between a psychic and a medium, and I would like you to know that if you're going to venture into this field. So, as a psychic, you tune into the energy field of living beings. Okay, so not just living beings, objects, tangible things, experiences. You walk into a room and you get goosebumps on your skin, or you pick up an object in a antique store and you kind of know that it's heavier, right? That is much more psychic. It's in the psychic realm. While a medium takes all that psychic foundational work that you have done before and you step it up a notch. Now you're going to speak with vibrational frequencies that are at a much higher rate than our human bodies. So all mediums are psychics. All mediums are psychics, okay? But not all psychics are mediums. You have to study mediumship. Okay. Let me look at the chat real quick. Can you please explain the difference between channeling and mediumship? Yes, beautiful. That's a great question, Amelia. So, channeling, let me just put it this way. Let's imagine that you are coming to CLI, right? My institute. So that's like a spiritual university. Your level one psychic training is your bachelor's. Okay, it's the basis that you need. Your master's level training is going to be mediumship 1 and 2. And then channeling is your PhD. Now, channeling, the word itself means that you're going to channel information. So all psychics channel, right? All mediums are channeling. But what matters is who and what are you channeling? All channels, the PhD level training, is where you begin to channel information from the source, from the highest, most purest form of information flow available to us. Okay, so you can think about ascended masters and angels and all those like higher dimensional beings. And then on top of that, you have source. So when we channel, when you're trying to be a physical vocal channel, that's where you're channeling from. Those messages are not necessarily for one person. Those messages apply to, let's say, pretty much the entire human race. Mediumship is where you speak with a dead person. So you're channeling, but you're speaking with a dead human being. Okay, so that's mediumship. And psychic is everything in the living realm, in the living here. You're trying to get information specifically for a client. That would be a psychic reading, whether you're reading them, whether you're connecting with their higher self, or you're connecting with their spirit guide who's giving you guidance for this one person. So that's the difference between psychic, mediumship, and channeling. Even though the word channeling is you pretty much channel, right? I hope that answered your question. Now, astral traveling, remote viewing, all those things are going to fall under psychic. Okay, astral, we covered that in the psychic training. Psychic level 1 covers everything from tarot to dreams, astral traveling, lucid dreaming, all that will fall under psychic. Mediumship is very hardcore. You're just simply speaking with a dead person for a family that asked you to speak with them. Yeah. So, uh, so if you are looking at channeling, I do not admit people into channeling until they have gone through psychic and mediumship training with me for many reasons. I just don't want people bypassing because it's to me it's levels. You know, you have to build your levels to get to channeling, but I'm pretty sure there are other teachers out there who may do channeling for you. So with Lula, because you spoke with Lula, Lula's done mediumship 1, then she did mediumship 2. And I wanna answer this question. So here's for everyone on this call today. If you're wondering whether you need any kind of background or psychic training before you get into mediumship, the answer is no. Okay, so you don't need to study psychic 1 with me. You don't need to, but it certainly doesn't hurt if you do. Many of our students begin with mediumship 1 and then they choose to go back into psychic 1. So they'll study psychic 1, then they repeat mediumship 1 again. And I'll tell you why they do that. Because it's free to repeat courses. Okay. So at CLI, you may repeat anything that you have studied with me as many times as you want because I think it's needed. Okay. No one can become a pro medium in 12 weeks. You need so much repetition is going to build your confidence. Okay. It's going to refine your awareness and it's going to strengthen your trust in your own intuitive language before you decide to get into channeling. So I apologize if anyone is thinking about just simply getting into channeling with me because you have to go through mediumship 1 and 2 before you can study channeling. And once you get into mediumship 1 and 2, I will probably ask you to repeat it. I'll say study 1, study 2, and then redo it again before. So you're looking at a good 1 year of mentorship in mediumship. Okay, you only pay once, but you get to repeat it as many times as you want before I say, yes, Amelia, great. Now I think you should look into channeling next. Okay, because I want you guys to have the best experience. I don't want you to rush into any of this. And I think, spiritual evolution or transcending comes with a lot of patience, right? You have to spend a lot of time and patience working through these different layers and you cannot rush things. So that's just my advice to everyone who's thinking about psychic studies or channeling. Take it easy, study one course at a time, repeat it, and then think about the next thing. Okay, so now let's take a moment to look at some of the key concepts in mediumship real quick. Okay, principles we will return to again and again when we practice in the sessions once the classes begin. It is 12 weeks of training, and then there are 3 weeks built in. So you're looking at 15 weeks of observation. Okay, so on 3 of those classes, you're going to simply observe other pro mediums give readings. Okay, so it's all built in so you can have the best experience with mediumship. Thank you, Christina. Anyone who is interested, remember, I'm gonna come to it later, but I want you to understand that, this is I love doing this. Okay, I care about that education. So if you feel like you really want to study, and if there's anything that you need from us to make it happen for you, all you have to do is email or text me and say, I really want to study, but this is what I'm facing. These are my questions. Can you help me sort through it? I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Okay. But let's look at some of the key concepts, as I mentioned. I want to look at human body, mind, and spirit. The first thing is the body, guys. Amelia, how soon after doing the training can you start doing readings for a fee? That's a great question. So within week number, if you have never done any of this, I'm just going to answer the question for two groups of people. One is who have never thought about psychic mediumship, they just found their way into it. I would say that within week number 5 or 6, you're already doing readings in class. So we are going to have clients in class and we're going to read them as a group. Okay, so by the time you're done with level 1 training, I actually want my students to go out and charge and do readings, okay, because you're going to get that good. So I would say level 1, and you should be ready to do readings for a fee. And I like that approach because you value the time and the skills that you're developing. I love it. Many, many healers have great difficulty charging people for anything that they do. And I think that has to do a lot with a limiting belief. So if you are anxious to go out and serve others and get paid for it, good for you. Love that. So let's look at the human body. In life, the human body is made up of both matter and energy, right? In fact, at any given moment, roughly 20 watts of energy is flowing through your body. So to me, when we look closely at a microscopic level or a subatomic level, this becomes even more apparent. If we were to take a tiny sample of your skin and put that under the microscope, we would not see something solid in the way that we imagine our bodies. Instead, we would actually find vast amounts of empty space with tiny particles moving within it. okay, all highly energized. This is a microscopic view to me of the universe. Think about the vast, beautiful, empty sky. It looks empty, but there's energy at the core of everything. So, in simple ways to explain to you, think about the ceiling fan for a quick second. Imagine a fan. The blades of the fan, when the fan is off, the blades are clearly visible to us, right? Once it starts vibrating, once it's on and speeds up, the blades begin to blur. We can't see them anymore. You think the blades just disappeared? Obviously not, right? It is still there, but the vibration at a frequency beyond our physical eyes can perceive, which is why we can't see them. Same thing with a cube of ice. Ice goes from solid to water, liquid, and then steam, and now it's gone. Has it really gone? Obviously not. The vibration, the frequency changed. So now we cannot see it tangibly. And that's pretty much what happens with our loved ones too. Once they drop their bodies, their frequency goes up. And I'm not necessarily saying that just by dying, you become an amazing person. That's not the point. We will get into that in the classes, okay? The perception that just because you are dead, you're an amazing person now, that's wrong, okay? They still have to work on themselves on the other side. They're not frozen in time. Just like we have therapists on this side, we also have teachers and therapists on the other side. So they still got to work. But because they dropped the mass, they dropped the body, their vibration went up. So if you want to communicate with someone like that, your vibration needs to go up while you are in your physical body. You cannot work as a medium if you're not going to stay in your body. Okay, so that's the body. I want to show you something really quick, okay? Um, I want to show you something which is going to blow your mind. How many of you were at the expo on Sunday, the Awaken Lifestyle Expo on Sunday? So let me pull up something for you. Sarah, you were? Okay. So I'm going to show you, where are we? Here. I'm going to show you a machine that I use called BioWell. Okay, and I mentioned this at the expo the other day, but I want to show it to you. So this machine, I do a lot of trauma healing work, right? Because my background is therapy, so I still have clients, and this machine, through your fingerprints, it creates your energetic health. Okay, so now you can actually see what's going on in your energetic space through on paper, basically. So this is a client of mine, and through fingerprinting, what you see on slide on the screen here is basically her aura. That's a biofield, and we all have it. How beautiful is that, isn't it? But what you see here is, look at all the rips and tears. Look at all the rips and tears. It's almost like her aura has been shredded. It is these massive giant holes in her system. And that's what happens with a lot of us who are not mindful of our energetic health, is because we put a lot of stress on our bodies, whether it's mental, emotional stress, poor boundaries, very stressful life situations like relationships and family and friends and job, we begin to rip our own biofield apart. So look at this person's stress levels. I'm going to show you before and after, but this is before. You can see that she had excessive stress levels, and her body was out of whack. Like look at the number of organs in disbalance, 9 on the left and 11 on the right. Her body, just so you guys know, I found out later she had mold. Okay, so her body, she was dealing with mold issues too. Um, she had Lyme disease, so there was a lot going on with her health, but that all puts stress on your aura, on your biofield. And think of your biofield as the mold, right? So when you put not the mold that I was talking about, but actually a mold in which you can set chocolates or jelly. So that's how our biofield is. And if there is, imagine if the mold that you're going to use, the framework that you're going to use to pour the jelly into, if it has holes and rips and if it is dented, then you're going to have a jelly that's not really round, right? It's going to be a weird looking thing that you create. And that's what we do to our bodies. Okay. So this person, look at her chakras all over the place. A balanced view of the chakras is right in the center of the spine. And look at hers. It was like tiny contracted circles all over the place. If you are going to be, this is to Amelia, if anyone wants to be a channel, your chakras need to be at least 90% and higher balanced, meaning they all need to be in one line almost all the time so that you can receive information and flows right through your channel. Most of us are not even aware of it, right? So what happens is if this person's trying to receive information from her crown, imagine what's going to happen. It's going to go right there, then it has to go left, then right, then left. It's not going to work. It's going to get very patchier for her. Anyway, so she did some work with me for a week, not long, like 10 days. She wasn't trying to become a medium. This was just a trauma healing kind of client. So we did about 10 days of work. You can see the first report was done on August 8th, and the next one was on August 18th. Look at that. Within 10 days, her aura is beautifully stitched up. Her chakras, they could still use some work, right? But they're better, much better. They're coming in alignment. I like the fact that her crown is so in. When your crown, for psychic mediums and channels, your crown chakra needs to be on the extreme right, by the way, because we believe in receiving information internally. Anything that is on the left of the slide is basically you lean on outside stuff. You're an extrovert, okay? You need social life and you need other people's opinions and you need, it's all leaning towards the outside. Anything is to the right is leaning inward, okay? Now, the crown definitely needs to be either balanced or to the right. The heart space would benefit if it's in the center, the green in the center, so it can receive lots of love and give love, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, we'll study all this in your training, but for today, I want you guys to understand that, yes, Christina, I will send that information out, but I want you to understand that there's a lot that goes into becoming a medium. It's not simply sit in a room and meditate, okay? If you're not a clean vessel, if your body is broken, if there are holes and rips, then whether you're trying to get psychic information or mediumship information or channeling information, it's all going to come through a broken vessel, right? You're not a healed vessel and you're trying to help others, which is why we spend so much time on ourselves. So that's your body. Okay, so body is bones, tissues, glands, organs, body fluids, tangible things, anything that you can see. Then you have the mind. Um, Let me see if the mind, energy system. Okay, so the mind in mediumship, your mind has 4 dimensions. Okay, when I say mind, I'm not talking about your brain, I'm talking about your mind, which is 4 different dimensions. The first one is your intellect, that is your brain. The second dimension is your identity. In Sanskrit, we call it ahamkar, meaning your sense of self identity, your ego. Okay? Then you have your memory. Your memory is a vast, it's huge, and your instinct is deeply connected to your memory. Okay, but your memory has your past life memories, in between soul contracts and all that stuff, good stuff, good and bad stuff. And then you have your present life memories, and then you also have ancestral memories, okay, ancestral DNA that we deal with in level 2. Okay, we got to look at their families because they've given you a lot of stuff, gifts and blessings and burdens. And then you have your intuition, your chit, your intelligence is how I call it. Mediums need to use their intuition a lot more than all these other things that you see. Your brain has no place in mediumship. The more you try to analyze, overanalyze, The more you try to bring in your doubt and your fear and your questions, your intellect, your instinct, you're going to be horribly wrong in mediumship. Mediumship literally has no place for all those things. Okay, we'll study that. Let's get to the next one. Your energy system, as I just showed you, your energy system has a beautiful aura, right? Then you have 114 chakras. Yeah, the seven main chakras, and but there are other chakras too that people never speak about. Then you have 72,000 nadis. Nadis are, think of them like these tubes that pass all around you. Okay, and they carry your life force in it. There are three main nadis, the feminine, the masculine, and the center. Again, they run right next to your spine. And then you have your eight clear senses. As the slide says very beautifully, your spirit, meaning your higher self, the real you, flows through your energy system and it will animate through your body and your mind. You see, so your body cannot be in charge of things. Your instinct, which is very closely tied to your body, cannot be in charge of major decisions in your life. Your intuition, which is pure consciousness, which is your spirit speaking to you, needs to be in charge. But because there's so many layers of things, conditioning, belief systems, religion plays a role too, being shut down, being told that you're weird, you don't see things, all these things will keep you from using your intuition. So in your level one training, our main job is how do we peel back? How do we peel back those layers and layers to get to your compass, to get to your intuition? Because mediums do not use instinct. We use intuition. If I was to give you a reading today, let's say if I give you a reading, Sarah. Sarah was at the expo. Sarah, did you take my workshop on that day? If you did, I did a quick demonstration at that expo. And let's say if I was reading one of you today and I see a tiny little island, okay, and I say to Sarah, Sarah, I think the spirit that I'm speaking to is from Japan. And you say, well, I don't have any Japanese relatives. I just used my instinct because I saw what looked like an island, and instantly my instinct said, oh, it must be Japan. It's an island. Intuition would say, I am seeing an island, so it looks like this particular person, the spirit that I'm speaking with, could be from that island. And then Sarah may say, oh, yes, you know what? I do have people that come from so and so country, which is an island country. So that's the difference between intuition and instinct, right? And we'll study that. Let's come to the next one here, which is your spirit. Now, your spirit or your higher self is like I kind of like to describe it as the bedrock. Okay, it's always been there. It's literally who you are. So when you drop this human body, that's who you're going to be, the spirit. Your spirit is going to go through different states of consciousness. Okay, so the wakeful state is when you're completely aware, but you're not conscious, not necessarily conscious. We have a lot of awake people right here in the class. I don't know how many of you are like on Facebook, on Instagram right now. I don't know who's doing that. But if you are trying to do that, that's not being conscious. That's not being mindful, right? You're just awake and you're multitasking. And then you have the dream state. So your spirit can go through the dream state where you have beautiful dreams and you have desires and you may meet loved ones in your dreams as well. You may have premonitions. You have deep sleep where you sleep and you remember nothing at all. Everything was rested. And then you have turiya. Turiya is the meditative state. So when you are in meditation or when you are in the flow, hiking, listening to music, going on a long drive, where you're just like, oh, in the flow, it feels great. That is a Turiya state. And then we have the best of all, which we will get to in your level two, is forgiveness. And you'll be like, Mana, what do you mean forgiveness? I promise you, as a channel, channeling becomes much easier when the density of your mind is light. Your mind is not dense with emotions, And a lot of this has to do with us keeping things tight. Like we don't want to let go of things. We don't want to forgive. We don't want to forgive ourselves. We have so much guilt. All these things are going to keep you from accessing the highest source out there in channeling. Okay, so that is the fifth state of consciousness. It kind of spans. We want to live in forgiveness overall. That's for another day. But those are the different states of consciousness that your spirit travels from in. Yeah. I gave this example the other day at the expo. I kind of think of us like body, mind, and spirit. Body is the top layer of the ocean where you have all the tsunami and the emotions and waves and things going on at the top, physical body. You have the mind, which is kind of like the energy body, right? So if I'm doing acupuncture or Reiki or crystal healing on you, I'm working on your energy body. Okay, I'm working on your different dimensions of your mind, including your energy body, which is also the second layer of the ocean where the sunlight hits, right? Closest to the physical body. And then you have the bedrock, the ocean bed. That's the spirit. That's not going anywhere. It's not getting affected by any of the physical shit that we have to go through every day. Okay, it's a spark of source within you. So that's how we kind of think of it in even in the death doula training that I do. That's how why my clients who are about to die, for instance, when we speak about life and death, this is often how I explain it to them. That they have a physical body, they have their energy body, and they're going to drop it, but they're going to continue as the bedrock. They're going to continue as a spirit, and they will still be able to speak with and communicate with their loved ones if the loved ones are open to it, right? Yes. Now let's last thing, okay, here. These are the four things that you guys need to know about as mediums because you're thinking, okay, I get it, mind, body, spirit. We receive information from universal consciousness. So the best way to explain you is your body is a computer. Okay, your physical body is the laptop that you're working on. It needs to connect to the internet. The connection itself, the cell phone tower or the tower, the satellite, is your pineal gland. And the internet is universal consciousness. That's where we receive information from. You're saying, how is all this information in on the web? Well, it's because we contribute to it, you and I, through our life experiences, through who we are. We go into the universal consciousness, we come back from it, and everything that we ever were and are and going to be is recorded. It's not lost. It's there. And we are able to tap into the essence of a spirit if our pineal gland works fine, if it's okay, if it's active. And the eight clear senses allow us to make sense of it. Okay, your eight clear senses, which is an extension of your physical senses. So clairvoyance is clear seeing, clairgustance is taste, aliens is smelling, empathy, clear empathy is for your emotions, clairtangency is for your touch, clairsentience is for sensing, claircognizance is for knowing. So all these clairs are allowing us to make sense of the information that you're downloading in your body. I mentioned this again and again. Your body is like your house. If you leave your house open and you just go on a vacation, if the windows and the doors are open, if your aura is completely ripped and broken, by the time you try to come back into your house, it will be looted. Okay, someone else is going to take the place. Someone else is going to be sleeping in your bed, eating from your fridge, maybe showering in your bathroom, right? And you come back after 6 months and you're like, oh my God, what happened here? Well, you left your house open. And that's what we do to our bodies. We just leave it broken, and then other people's energies and other energies will get into us. And it just gets like heavy. We feel like drained and tired and exhausted because we are not protecting our bodies and our energetic field, right? And that has to do with vibrational resonance. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Because if you are a high vibrational being, which I'm assuming everyone in this class is pretty good on the scale of consciousness. So if you are somewhere like 200 and above on a scale of consciousness, which we will study in this class, and if you begin to surround yourself with people who are, let's say, 750, like really high up there, then your vibration goes up because you have to catch up with them. But if you surround yourself with people who are 50, then your vibration will have to go down to be able to sustain those relationships, right? So vibrational resonance is how you vibrationally resonate with people and things and experiences around you because it's going to get amplified. Bad things will get amplified too. Good things will get amplified too. Wherever you meet someone else is going to get amplified. Okay. So that is vibrational resonance. You could bring others up. If you want to take that up, you are welcome to take that up, Amelia. But what happens is the bringing other people up is not up to you, you see? So you can only maintain your own vibration and they get to decide whether they want to come up and meet you or not. And if they are not willing to, then unfortunately, the longer that relationship sustains, the more you drop your vibration. You have to go down and meet them at some point, right? Some middle ground. So if you're a higher vibrational person, you are going to walk away feeling a little drained. If your friends and family and in your workspace, everything is toxic, you're gonna go home feeling, oh, feels like shit today. And you know why, because your aura is, ripped. Okay. So, this is how these are some of the more important topics that we cover in level one. Obviously, it's 12 weeks, right? So you're going to spend so much time on each one of these things. But I want you to know that the first 4 weeks of your training, this time, the training that starts in February 1st, I have designed it a little differently. Okay, I'll tell you why because I want you to also experience other pro mediums demonstrating. So on some of the Saturdays, we do something called, we did one today. It's a practice session that all my students come together and we host one person, one client, and we read them. We practice both psychic and mediumship readings on that person. We take 12 free clients a year. Okay, one person a month. What I've done is we have scheduled your classes during that time. So you are within those 12 weeks, you're going to get 3 additional weeks. So this is going to be 15 weeks. 3 additional weeks where you actually are not studying through like lecture style like this, but you're observing other mediums give demonstrations. It's amazing. You're going to have so much fun because you get to have 1 hour of observation time on some of the best mediums with us, okay? Including me, I'll be demonstrating too. And then within the first 4 weeks, you will be at a point where you can also demonstrate, you can also practice in that time. Okay. So we'll have lots of practice, lots of science. We got to study science so we know how to take off and keep the plane in the air so we don't crash because we don't know how the mechanics work, right? So we need to know how mediumship actually works. We'll do that. And lots of clients, we'll start seeing clients from week number 6 in class so you can practice your readings. So everything is in it. 12 weeks, 2 hours, science and practice. When it comes to the payment, we have some really amazing payment plans. I'm going to come here. So let me see. It doesn't actually show you so it's 1350, 1350 is the price of the training. But we have something you can do weekly payments, you can do bi-weekly, you can study first, pay later, whatever works for you. Like I mentioned to you, it's important that we can make this available to you. So if you feel like you need to reach out and ask me how to make it work, do that. Okay, don't shut yourself out because you see a problem, okay? Allow us to help you solve it if that's the case for you. Um, there is going to be 2 hours of training every Saturday. This is Saturdays. We have two groups starting next year. The first one starts on January 31st. Okay, it's the first Saturday of the year. It's going to be 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the next group will start sometime in July. So if you cannot make it in January for some reason, the next one will be in July. Most of the ones who do the January training will probably repeat again in July because I'll ask you to. I'll be like, please repeat level 1 before you do level 2. Um, and what else do I have on my mind here before I come to your questions? Yes, attendance. So some people may think that you can just replay and catch up. That's not going to be it. I would like you to be in class at least 75% of the time. Okay, if you missed just a few classes, that's okay. You can replay it. We are recording everything just like this, so you'll have access to it. But I really like people to be in class because it's a different experience when you're present, okay, and you make that time for yourself. So this is not something you can just watch a YouTube video and do. Really not. Okay, so please, if you are not going to be able to make for like most of the classes, like 90% of the time you're not going to be there, then wait until July. Only do it if you have the time and the patience, because that's how I like it. I want to have a good experience too, teaching and guiding, right? Tracy, when we repeat it, is live with you or recording of the no, live with me. Live with me. You'll be repeating. You have repeat students in this class as well. So when we start the class in January, you'll see a lot of the students who have already on the list are repeats. They've done it before, they're repeating it again. Okay. They're all building it up to channeling. Amelia, does it matter how many people we are talking about? Like, what if most people in your life are higher vibrating and you have one person in your family who is really low? Ah, that's a good question. I mean, to be honest, in my experience, if you can just focus on your own vibration and maintain it, the ones who are not able to match it will fall off. You'll see less and less of them. That's just been my experience. You have to do nothing. You don't have to abandon people. You don't have to remove them. You don't have to do nothing. Your experience of other folks and your friends and family will shift because you are now good at maintaining your vibration. Okay, no matter what's going on with them, you're able to keep up. Is the class capped at a certain number of students? That's a good question. Yes, we try to keep it at the most we have ever done is 15, 1-5, because we have the practice in it, and what happens is if we have more than 15, it's really difficult to get everyone to practice, if that makes sense. So we keep it at 15, but even out of the 15, some of them are repeat students. So if they don't get to practice, it's fine because they've done it 100 times, right? But what happens is everyone else gets a mentor. So you will be connected with and paired with someone else who has done it before. So you not just have me, but you also have another pro medium who has studied before. So if you don't have, if you can't reach me for some reason, you have someone who can guide you. Okay, so which is why I like it. Does the repeat course cost the same? It's free, Christina. The repeats are free. You don't have to pay again. So once you pay once, that's it. Can I choose Lula? I don't know if Lula's gonna do level 1. She's done it many times. So she is not on the list yet, but you can ask her. She's gonna do Reiki during that time. She's studying Reiki. Let's see, any other questions? Does it matter? Okay, beautiful. I think, are you taking new clients for trauma healing? Those will be one-on-one sessions, and I'll need to speak with you before I understand what exactly you're working with. However, let me say this, if you're going to go through level 1 and level 2, you don't need trauma healing. You'll do way more than trauma healing in Mediumship one and two. Okay. So you're not going to need any extra anything. I actually asked, there was someone last year who started with a BioWell scan with me. And then she was like, Mana, I want to work one-on-one, like she just wanted like intuition training. And I said, just, she was doing level one training, right? I said, just continue doing level one. Now she is doing level two second time. This is the second time doing level two. And she didn't really need one-on-one training with me because, it's very intense, I'll tell you that. The ancestral healing is trauma healing to some extent because you're going to start looking at all, I don't want to get into level two because it's not what we want to talk about today. But mediumship two is now you're going to be under the microscope, right? You're going to do a lot of forgiveness training. You're going to look at certain patents, soul contracts, agreements. That all happens in level two. Okay. Um, let's see, anything else I missed? If I'm a channel, does that naturally make me a medium? I channel while speaking, though. Yes, I mean, here's the thing. Everyone in this class and pretty much everyone out there is a channel. Okay, we are all channels. Whether you're a conscious channel and then what exactly are you channeling is the point. Like I've seen channels who are pretty famous, but once they start channeling, you can see that they are channeling from down, meaning they're channeling from their subconscious mind. It's coming not from source, it's actually coming from their experiences, whether this lifetime or past lifetime, doesn't matter, but it's coming from them personally. A channel, what makes you a really good channel is that you're not in the mix. Okay, your body is being used as the vessel to bring information from the highest source out there. And I'll be able to tell that when I see someone channeling, which is why I like people going to this training because you will be in your experience of channeling and understanding of it will shift once you understand how mediumship actually works. Okay. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt pretty much everyone is able to channel, and this will just deepen it, deepen your practice. Now, no matter what you practice, you are Reiki, you have a crystal healing class. My students will graduate next week. It's an 18-week course, but they all do psychic, they all do mediumship, and now they're doing crystals. They're just adding another skill set to their toolkit. Okay. Let's see. This is all I have for you guys. Now, where should you go to sign up? The website is on on the screen, so you're gonna go on clius.org. But if you need a payment plan, you are going to email me. Okay, so let's see if my email is somewhere here. Oh, you guys have my email because you have the Zoom link for the session. So just email back to it and say that, hey, I need a payment plan for this group that starts next month. Okay. And then Kimberly, who works in my office, she's going to work with you and whatever you desire, she'll make it work. Okay. All we need from you is your complete commitment and lots of patience to go through this training, and just openness and to have fun. Okay. Okay, dokes, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope to hear from some of you. Oh, who is that? It's Cheryl. Cheryl, yes. So let me show you that. Let me hold on, everyone. Okay, give me 1 second, just 1 second before you guys leave. I'm going to show you something, and then I'll let you go. Okay, so when you go on the website, everyone, go under group certifications right here. And when you scroll here, you are going to see Mediumship 1 right here on the right. Mediumship 1, starting January 1st, 31st. That's the one. That's the one you're looking at. Okay, now we do have a psychic that's coming up in April. That's here. but I'm not teaching that psychic one. So this psychic one here, I'm not going to teach that one. We have an amazing teacher teaching psychic one, Jen Ducker. She's going to teach that one. But we have a death doula that starts pretty much the same time as your mediumship. So if anyone's curious about death doula training, it's not mediumship. It's not an overlap by um any way. Okay, but that's where you will find all the big certifications are all here. And then we have a workshop that's tomorrow. That's a pendulum workshop. And I know Tracy, you have signed up for that one. But I hope this answered your question. Yeah, check from your computer. Exactly. Check from your computer, much easier to do the work. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys spending so much time here today. And I will talk to you later. If anyone needs to schedule a call with me, like a 15-minute call where you just need to like be really clear about if this is for you or not, you can reach out to me, email me, and we can do that. Mana, I did, let's see, I did one with you. Can you repeat? Yes, Zach, you can definitely repeat with Jen in April. Absolutely. The level one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, jokes. Goodbye, everyone. Have a safe weekend and talk soon.